let me start off by introducing you to a place I'm sure you're all fairly familiar with. A place that's currently covered in blue and diamonds, a place where adults can be kids again and where children prosper. To some, if not most, if not all, known as the happiest place on earth. Yes, that place is Disneyland. To some, Disneyland is just a theme park with characters from corner to corner and long queues for amazing rides like Space Mountain. But to me, Disneyland is so much more. Disneyland is like a second home where I can feel free from the stress of being a graduating senior, soon to be a college student, basically an adult but having no idea what's going on, so I just escaped to my fantasy land. So here's me. The happiest place on earth, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of the amusement park life, filled with magic, light, and love. Now, someone like me who loves Disney must be happy in this picture, right? But you see, that's where everything changes. Underneath my usual composure of smile and laughter is something a lot darker. My name is Relota, and I have clinical depression. So it started years back, but it never was really addressed until my junior year. The toughest part about it was dealing with my parents. When it came to talking about it, if we even talked at all, it was like the elephant in the room. They never talked about it with me, and I was never willing to talk about it with them. With their special case of growing up in the Philippines, they never really thought of a mental illness as a real thing. They thought that I could just control my emotions, that I didn't need to cry, that I didn't need these thoughts, and sure, they're right to a point, but you just can't help it. Due to their lack of knowledge and all of that, they treated me with a bit of hostility. But don't worry about it. My mom did give me some prime advice one time when I was crying in the car and talking to her about it. She told me, you just need Jesus, you just need to pray. But you see that this is far past a religious perspective. It's something that I needed to address on a personal level where I could actually feel connected with them. These experiences left me wanting to know, what are common misunderstandings about mental illnesses like depression, and what can be done about them? So the first and foremost common misunderstanding is that mental illnesses aren't common. According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 4 people have mental illnesses. It could be at home, it can be at school, it can be at work, and can be literally anywhere. Anyone could be suffering. But it can be hard to identify who needs help and how, which leads me to my second misconception. Mental illnesses only occur in psychos. Now, we all know that everyone isn't a psychopath, like you're a generic killer stuck in a psych ward. And it can be kind of hard to see who they are. Due to this misconception and this stereotypical visual idea of someone with a mental illness, it can be hard for people to reach out. Like, for example, I don't look like a raving lunatic or anything, so it was hard for my parents to understand that I could be categorized as someone who had a mental illness. This led me leading like I was deserted, unneeded, and that I was alone. I couldn't talk about it, I couldn't do anything about it, I was just alone in my own space. But for people, even if they have a mental illness or not, they don't have to be alone because no one wants to be alone. It's time we stop ignoring things like mental illnesses and depression and assume that it can be fixed by telling people to just cheer up. By forcing this facade of happiness upon them, you can bundle up and jar what's on the inside, and that can just lead to further problems in the future. It's the small acts that make a big difference. You can just be there for a friend. You don't even need to say anything. You could just be there and listen. And even if they don't want to talk, sometimes just being there physically for them can help. Because I'm so thankful to be surrounded by such loving friends, and now thanks to treatment, family, I have that. I can finally be okay talking about this with all of you here. So now I'm no longer alone in my happiest place on earth. I can have my happily ever after, but with the people who took the time to care. Thank you.